Esports is a sport, and gaming is about entertainment. But more often than not, brands make the mistake of using both terms interchangeably. Although these two verticals stem from the same medium of video games, often feeding off each other, there are some significant differences between esports and gaming that needs to be understood. Both platforms are simple and user-friendly, hence the successful record hit in developing countries and other emerging markets. But when it comes to the e-gaming and esports industry, there is an array of angles that brands can approach when activating to connect to their target audiences. Wale Adegoke, founder of lovefootball.ng, discusses how we can support startups in the space to increase engagement.
Well, Wale, glad to have you on Tech Trends today.
Hi, CFA. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Let me start by getting your views on how the ecosystem has fared to date.
Tech ecosystem in Lagos, Nigeria, it's actually moved on in leaps and bounds. Even from the last 2 years, there's been so many improvements, especially when it comes to talent. Talents are getting more opportunity to learn more skills. And because so many startups are coming up, they have opportunity to actually try their hands on these skills, designing and developing different kind of products, working on those products. So on the talent side, it's grown in leaps and bounds. Funding also has grown a lot, but there's still a lot more that can be done in terms of funding, especially for different kinds of industries. I feel like the focus of funding is more on, will I say the regular subjects or the usual suspects. So, what is the
usual suspect? What is the usual suspect?
Yeah, so I was just about to say it's been difficult for startups in some specific, maybe lesser fancied fields to access some kind of funding is a bit more difficult. The usual suspects, fintech, education, technology around education, also edtech, and then of course health tech. Those are the usual suspects in my opinion, and I think a lot of people agree with me.
Okay, so let's drill down to sport tech and what tech startups in the sports space are doing. So what are some of the things that you see are the innovations coming out of that?
The innovation is really about participation and engagement. It's just about deepening that and increasing that. We know, and I am privy to this data, that billions are spent daily in Nigeria on sports betting. Now, people want to make money from the internet. When you search on Google how to make money on the internet, it's people are trying to make money from the internet, and sports is a big way people are tapping into that. The kind of innovations that can come around the kind of traditional sports betting we have, they are myriad. Like, for example, fantasy gaming. It's a way of actually playing and engaging in sports, and you're not necessarily betting against a bookmaker, because fantasy sports and betting are actually quite different. So that's an innovation that can come out of it. And we can even look at even the situation of training kids and getting them to watch how they play. If we could record and stream matches of kids so that their parents can watch it, other people can watch it, they can look, analyze, the teachers can also analyze and see. This is about youth development now, development of players in different kinds of sports. Having that interaction of sport, of tech into it, helps everybody to get more connected with the sport, and it's definitely a win-win for all parties involved.
So, Wally, I mean, you are sort of talking about an interesting point, but there is also the part of sports betting being gambling, and the moralistic side. Parents also being weary about allowing their children play games all the time. How do we sort of marry all of these issues, which are real, and then still take advantage of the innovations in the future of sports?
Yeah. So CFA, these vices, they are real. They do cause damage to people, especially those that don't, approach this in a responsible way. And responsible in the sense that there is legislation about the age that people are allowed to take part in this kind of thing. So underage gaming should not be, it should not be something that is promoted. But then I'm not talking about gaming in its entirety, because fan engagement spread far beyond betting money. And with the way the internet is going, I'm seeing the need for further consultation with the people that are actually innovating on these products. So I mentioned socials. It's a fan token. People are buying the right to have a say in the club. On the other side of it, there's also a way of trading on player options, which is another app. That player options is similar to the stock market in the sense that if the player performs well, is doing well, your stock in the player is going to be going up, obviously, which that strikes a bell with our normal, equities and investments that people partake in, financial instruments. But there's a way regulation comes in to make sure that people are doing the right thing and not breaking the system down or taking advantage of the system unduly and, preying on the weak in the society. So these are key principles that people involved in gaming. FIFA, video game, people play it from childhood, from a young age. So they're already playing video games. They're already doing these things. People are going to look for these things. So we have to find, as we're innovating, something that is going to be customer-centric and going to make sure that the customer is always getting the best part of the deal.
All right. And so what do you think that needs to happen for startups like yours in areas that are not the usual suspects, sports and the rest of them, should happen to encourage you guys to build better?
I think part of the things I want to happen and need to happen are, this interview is a materialization of that. We need to hear more about that, hear more about the possibilities in creating jobs, in creating revenue, in creating actually cultural moments, moments for people to interact, exchange of values, and it's actually critical. People through sports get united, and sports kind of blurs lines between some kind of things, would I say differences. So there's a huge potentiality, and I can just think about, okay, imagine if Nigeria were to win the World Cup. Imagine the impact on the economy. And I just think people need to talk more about it. Also, I think our VCs and the ones abroad also that focus on Africa, they look at Africa through a lens of poverty and, okay, people in Africa are hungry, so they don't play. Or maybe that's the impression. So that needs to be corrected also, because Africans also have fun. Africans also play. Africans also have, culture, and around activities that we do. We are building our lives around those activities. So we need to also be able to invest in that. That's something that's going to grow as the internet is growing and everything else is growing around the ecosystem. These hobbies and sports definitely going to grow.
All right. Olawale, thank you for being on the show today. Wish you all the best.
Thanks so much, Jeffrey. Cheers.